Well, a very good afternoon and welcome to a sunny Valmoster in Switzerland for the third event of this year's Tour de Ski. A day off yesterday, which will have been much appreciated after all the activity in Oberstdorf. It's the first and only sprint of the Tour for this year, and the great news as far as British fans go is that both Andrew Musgrave and Andrew Young have made it through to the knockout phases. Well, they did well at this stage of the Tour last year. Let's hope they can do the same again. Well, a packed programme for you right throughout the week. Obviously starting off with the cross-country on the Tour de Ski, alpine skiing with Nick and John from Zagreb, and then ski jumping later on. Of course, it is the finale of the Four Hills Tournée. And Stefan Kraft looks as though he is in the driving seat to claim Austria's 7th successive victory in that tournament. And then finish the evening off with the second run of the men's slalom from Zagreb. So lots to look forward to. And of course, our minds are totally on the cross-country skiing. Remember the Tour de Ski, 7 races in 9 days. We're through to the third event. Mike Dixon alongside myself, Patrick Winston. And this is exciting, not just because the Brits have done well, but the Swiss, with the success of Dario Cologna, have come to appreciate cross-country skiing at last.
And back home for Cologna today. He hasn't won a podium or a sprint at home in Switzerland.
I try to maintain.
Well, what a stunning scene it is here in Valmoster, of course the home of Dario Cologna, and he will have a huge number of fans. He's made it through to the last 30 and therefore enters the knockout phases. And 1 or 2 surprises which we'll run through. Remember, the men and the women racing alternately in the sprint format, and that just sort of increases the amount of rest they get in between each leg. But there is no doubt that those who get through to the final of the sprint events are certainly expending a whole lot more energy than those who've already been knocked out, having just done 1 time trial. Well, the women's tour is certainly not decided quite yet, but it is a question of which of the Norwegians is going to come through to win. Norway have 1, 2 and 3 at the moment in the Tour standings. Marit Bjørgen has been dominant so far. These 2 ladies certainly putting up a challenge. Therese Johaug wearing 4 there, the defending champion. Try as she might, she couldn't even beat Heidi Weng 2 days ago. That was partly down to the wax on her skis. She went a little bit thin, struggled on the uphill sections. Marit Bjørgen, though, has been in dominant form. She really is outstanding. She's won over 30% of the World Cups that she has entered in her career. Now, if you've only done 10 races, maybe that's not so impressive, but when you've done over 270, it is a phenomenal record that she's got.
Well, she seems to be getting stronger and stronger,
Patrick. My plan was to do my own race, and I heard they was taking some second in the beginning, the first lap, and then out in the second lap I heard that I was getting the second again, and I heard after the third and the third lap I heard that they have 50, so I understand that. Yeah, it was an amazing race, and today I had great skis. I was a little bit afraid in the beginning because it was so icy and I couldn't get my grip on my skis, so I was a little bit afraid from the beginning, but I had incredible skis today, so thanks to the guys in the cabin.
Well, that's nice to see her thanking the technicians. They play a vital role, but it seems to be habit now that if you win, you say, my skis were fantastic. I'm sure they were. You're not going to win on a bad pair of skis with the fields that we've had. So, Marit Bjørgen dominant in the women's. In the men's event, just have a look at this finish. Watch number 3, Petter Northug. You'll all know Petter Northug, coming out of nowhere in the closing stages. He was brilliant on the final downhill section, found the fastest line, weaved away through the rest of the competitors, and he left Halvorsen of Sweden for cold. Alex Harvey in second place at the moment with the yellow kneecaps for Canada. A really good race for Alex Harvey, but no match for Petter Northug over the last 150 metres. Halvorsen, who was there or thereabouts all the way through, finishing third, deservedly, I would say, maybe just caught out in the final stages. But Northug back in charge.
Behind in the group after the group catch, me, Dario and Kalle, so you never know about Dario. He was in good shape last day, so yeah, my plan was to catch him at the first lap so I could. It was more difficult during the race. After 3-4 laps it was more difficult to get grip, but yeah, tried to race a little bit outside of the course, and in the last climb I didn't get a good position. I had to run outside, but I've done a lot of this training with Frode Estil. He also won her in other course.
Well, whatever you think about Petter Northug and his antics over recent months, you have to admire the way he races, and he does liven up any cross-country race, because you can never quite rule him out, even if he's 30 metres off the pace with 200 to go.
And he's one of these athletes that work on confidence, self-confidence, and that's maybe why his aura, and sometimes people see it as arrogance, comes out at press conferences. Now I think he's in a real strong position. He's got his finish speed back, he's got his race lines perfect, and today it's all about your best race line on this short, tight course here in Valmustert.
So although he won 2 days ago, I don't feel he's favourite for the Tour as yet, simply because he's yet to prove that he can climb the Alpe d'Huez with the best of the rest. Well, a decent crowd turning out for today's race. It is the first and only sprint of this year's Tour de Ski, and consequently, and rather sadly in my opinion, we've not had the pleasure of the company of some of the big sprinters, particularly the Russians, who've decided it is just not worth turning up to the Tour because there's not enough sprinting for them to stand a chance come the end of the race. I don't think there's ever been a chance for an out-and-out sprinter to win the Tour de Ski. Maybe that day will come. But Mike, some of the other athletes will be delighted there's only one sprint, because if you're one of the top athletes, you do so much more work than those ranked around 20-25.
You do, and it really does strip you of energy. Today, those who make it through to the final will have done 4 times around this 1.2. There's Halvorsen. He is a great form. He's a good sprinter as well as a good distance racer.
Halvorsen, of course, lying in 3rd place. Alex Harvey's moved up into 2nd with his run in the 15k. And here's the man who leads the Tour de Ski, a man who's never won it, the only man who has always finished in the top 10 of every Tour de Ski held so far, Petter Northug of Norway. In the women's race, last year's champion Therese Johaug is in 3rd, just a fraction of a second time-wise, but with the bonuses ends up 5 seconds behind Heidi Weng, who is the newcomer. They've always known she's got a lot of promise, and I think she's starting to mature well this year, and certainly maybe she can be the one to challenge Marit Bjørgen should Bjørgen slip up. But the margin of lead is better than Bjørgen's ever had in the Tour de Ski after 2 days. If she wins again today, she might extend that lead to around 1.5 minutes. And we were saying that she only needed some 45-50 seconds at the start of the final day to win the overall Tour. Well, we'll see how it turns out. It's going to be a fascinating finale, whatever happens. But I can't see Kowalczyk winning anymore. Charlotte Kaller's not here. And so Bjørgen, her best chance to win it?
I think, without a doubt, she's so far ahead at the moment, but remember, we still have 4 days, including today, 4 days of racing left. And this course, Bjørgen has destroyed the field in the qualifier, except for, of course, her teammates, and that is Østberg. But the rest are 6 seconds behind her. You saw the track there, it's twice around the same track, and it's the same distance as the men. The women will be some 30 seconds slower than the men.
Well, there you see the qualification for the men. Petter Northug fastest again, 3:10.6. Remember, it's a 1.4 kilometre track. There you see Andy Musgrave and Andrew Young, 16:17. That is a fantastic result. And perhaps we're going to see for the first time 2 of the Brits getting through to the semi-finals. It is not beyond the realms of possibility. What they've got to do, in my opinion, Mike, is race smart. Last year they did well, but they just used too much energy too early on in the round.
It's so difficult when it's live and you're trying to get your line and you're reacting to other people. I think you're right, the strategy is the big part of it in order to place higher up in the semi and the final.
Heidi Weng 6 seconds off the pace and finishing in 3rd. That is an incredible margin. Bjørgen and Østberg seemingly in a class of their own in the women's sprinting. I think the Americans will be glad that Sadie Bjørnsson's made it through in 12th. Kicking Randall there in 13th place at the moment. Remember, she's won this leg before in the Tour de Ski. Can she do it again today? We didn't race here last year. We went to Lenzerheide, which was a fantastic race, a tough course, really tough course. But we did race here 2 years ago. And in the women's, well, that was a great event.
That's Tritcher setting his very, very good time for the day, but just beaten by Northug.
Fast start from Northug. The qualification time, Mike, obviously important to finish in the top 30, but the actual time even more important because it does count towards the accumulated time of the Tour de Ski.
It does, and the winner of the men's and the women's, they will get a minus 62nd of their overall tour times, 60, then 56, 52, all the way down to the top 30. So vital to perform well today for the overall outcome.
Yeah, so really important for those who want to win to finish in the top 6, get a place in the final. Well, here we go. The clock has started. The countdown is underway. Marit Bjørgen, having won the qualification, goes in heat number 1. She's up against Yevgeny Shapalova of Russia. 3:46.92, a good 8 seconds outside Bjørgen's pace in that qualifier. Lucia Anger is here. Sandra Ringwald has made it through. Cecilia Monnier of France, you can see standing next to number 30. She's wearing 21. And Justina Kowalczyk on the near side. Is this her last gasp at winning the 5th Tour de Ski? Remember, she's won it 4 times. It's been a fantastic record, but she looks well below par at the moment. We'll see how she gets on. The downhills here could be her undoing yet again. So we're underway, and while they complete the first 100 metres, just to tell you that Nicole Fessel of Germany did not qualify, so she's going to drop out of the top 5 of the Tour de Ski. And Tanizhina of Russia, 8th place in the Tour. She hasn't qualified either, so likely to drop out of the top 15?
Very much so. If you're not getting your bonus seconds today, you're going to drop down and down and down. Interesting how Marit Bjørgen's going to play this, Patrick. She's clearly stronger than everyone else. She'll just want freedom at the front, I think.
Yeah, control the pace. I think the others will show her a fair amount of respect.
And as expected, Kowalczyk, a slow start, but I think she'll work her way through this field as the race progresses. But of course, she doesn't have much distance to do that.
Well, Kowalczyk already some 25 metres off the pace of the race. Leader Marit Bjørgen well clear. She can now pace this one. She's got to be a little bit careful. The downhill section's crucial. Watch Kowalczyk at the back of the field if the picture stays on her. They've taken away the jump mic that was in there first thing this morning. I think a number of people feeling that it was just too unsafe. And look at that margin. Another 20 metres thrown away. I just cannot believe it. And it's got nothing to do with the technicians in the Polish hut.
Not at all. When you snowplow, we saw it just there at the end. Kowalczyk put a massive snowplow on, so effectively killing all of speed. You kill your speed, you're going to be some 10 metres, 15 behind the rest.
So from 25 metres behind, Kowalczyk is now 50 metres behind Marit Bjørgen, and it looks as though she could be going out in the early stages. Remember, the top 2 go through by right, and then there will be 2 lucky losers to make up the 12 members of the semi-finals. We've got 5 heats in the first round. They call it the quarter-finals, but we've got 5 heats, so we should really just call it the first round. Now, here comes Kowalczyk, starting to put in a little bit of work in the closing stages, as Mike suspected, and it's time for Lucia Anger of Germany to step it up. She's wearing 11. Making the break, though, is Sandra Ringwald, her teammate, number 20, and no move so far from a Monnier of France.
I think what is incredible here, Patrick, when you look at the distance that Bjørgen has, of course, she destroyed everyone else's time except Osborne, where she tripped up there on her own skis. She's a class apart from the rest of female sprint racing, and at the moment, distance racing as well. Well done, Kowalczyk, working so hard to get through it. She's made it. She's achieved it through to second place.
Well,
she's going to lose out on the downhill.
Shapalova hasn't given up on this one quite yet, nor has Sandra Ringwald. First 2 going through. The time should be reasonably quick, so there's a chance we could get a lucky loser from this group. No one's going to touch Marit Bjørgen as she comes down towards the final stages. It does seem a very long 1.4 kilometres, but they've still got some way to go and a couple of technical turns.
Can you imagine? They did have a 1 metre jump there at that point, a really dangerous point. I'd like to have seen it further back on the long straight, just to throw a little bit of spice in there. Well done, Kowalczyk. I think she might well hang on to second place.
Well, it's certainly not decided quite yet. She's got a 3 or 4 metre lead over Ringwald of Germany, and Ringwald is closing on that final corner. Again, it's the technical sections. Now, can the German... Oh, down she goes, and that's her her chance gone, so real disappointment, and it should hand Kowalczyk a ticket to the semi-finals. But coming strong is the Russian, Chapalova on the right-hand side of your screen. Björgen takes the win, and Chapalova with a better finish. Kowalczyk goes down into third, 3:42.2, the crucial time. Will that be good enough for lucky loser? And surely, Mike, if Kowalczyk doesn't make it through to the semis, she's not going to win the Tour this year.
It's vital. If she doesn't make it through to the semis, well, she'll pick up somewhat 8-10 seconds at the end of today. She would hope for at least 20 to 30 seconds. I think this is where Björgen slipped. She put her ski pole on top of her ski, but she wasn't under any pressure.
We've all done it. Just a lapse of concentration, really. But good thing that she's made it in the first round and not in the final, because that could so easily cost you the win.
And that fall has certainly cost Ringvald her second position. She was lining up beautifully for a home sprint there.
Yeah, she's got a broken pole. Now, I don't know if she fell because it broke. That's a possibility, or whether it broke because she fell. We'd have to see a super slow-mo to pick up on that. Or maybe some of our sharp-eyed viewers have sussed it out already. So we move on to heat number 2, and Therese Johaug is the figure we need to watch in this. If she can make it through to the semis, it keeps her chances alive. She has got to prevent Marit Björgen getting too far ahead if she wants to defend her title. And Johaug is fortunate, I guess, in the sense that her best leg is the last leg of the Tour. There she is. She's looked on good form, Mike. It was interesting that she was very complimentary of Heidi Weng after the race 2 days ago, saying that they essentially helped each other, but she was fully prepared to admit that Heidi Weng's presence helped her.
Well, and still, when they were working so well together, and Björgen still got away by, what, some 55 seconds, it shows the league that Björgen is in at the moment. The fitness and the level of her standard of racing is so high.
Saarinen is out, but Mononen of Finland has made it through. We've also got Sophie Caldwell from USA wearing 7 in the middle of this group. Gaia Virik of Italy near the cameras, you can see, and then nearest the camera, Aurore Gien of France, who's got a good record in these sprints. She finished, well, she made it through to the semi-finals last year in Lenzerheide, so she'll be hoping to do at least the same again. Anna Haag at the back on the far side. Number 4, that's Laura Mononen of Finland, and plenty of space. Nice to see a wide climb, Mike, because it gives almost everyone an opportunity to make a break in the early stages.
It's a steep climb. It must be 25% gradient, only for what, some 25 meters, but you certainly feel that. I think Vaurik in second place, Gaia Vaurik, she didn't, her run-out time, her earlier time was okay, but I think she reacts better when it's very close racing like this, and her downhill skills, her cornering skills are excellent.
Sophie Caldwell leading for USA, 3:45.78 her qualifying time. Really nicely taken corner there, and that if she can keep that sort of form, then she should enjoy the entry into the stadium for the final time. And more and more on this tour, the alpine skills being shown to be important, and as viewers will know, I'm a big supporter of that, because your downhill is just as much a test as the uphill, or it should be.
And it's not just the skills, the speed that you carry into and out of a corner, it's the amount of stress through your legs. Are you carrying a lot of tension when you're squatted down, a low tuck position? It burns the legs, and it's how efficiently you can use that energy. If you make the final, it's 4 times around this track today, or 8 times, it's 2 times for each 1.4 kilometers. This pace is a lot slower, Patrick. I'm making it some 5 seconds slower to this point.
Yeah, 1:48 at the start banner, 4.5-5 seconds down on Marit Björgen, but she was about 4 seconds ahead of everyone else, so still a chance for a lucky loser slot. 3:42.2 is the time that they have to beat if they want to be first in terms of first choice in terms of lucky losers at the moment.
This is good news for Therese Johaug. 3 years ago, we wouldn't have even seen her make the top 30. She qualified at 24th, and now she's got the spirit to lead this one at this point.
Yeah, this is her big chance. chance, isn't it? The big climb, and this is where she's got to stay strong. She knows she needs a lead of 4 or 5 metres going over the top of this climb. The Italian Gaia Vuric staying strong with her. On the near side is Laura Monanen, who was the fastest qualifier in this group, hence she wears bib number 4, 3:44.73. She was some 5 seconds inside Haag. She was 4 seconds quicker than Therese Johaug, but Johaug has raised her game. She knows just how important this particular sprint is. Have we ever seen her in the semi-final? I'm not sure we have.
Have we once? Possibly. It's unusual, but she's worked so much on her classic sprinting and her freestyle sprinting this summer, and she really has improved by doing that.
Good cornering again. Vuric stays low as they come in towards the finish. 3:12, another 30 seconds or so on this one. Can Therese Johaug of Norway hold the lead? Looking ominous in third place is Sophie Caldwell, who was a finalist last year. She certainly won't want to be going out at this stage. 3:42, remember, on the bottom left of your screen, that's the time they want to beat for the lucky loser, and it's still Johaug who leads. She ups the tempo, but Caldwell's coming strong on her right, and on her left, Guric of Italy's looking good as well. I think Johaug's going from first to third in the last 5 metres. Oh, it's so close. Photo finish, but Johaug given third at the moment. That will be bitterly disappointing, and the time, 3:42.4. She's second place in terms of lucky losers at the moment. Mike, it was the stretch for the line that lost it.
She got her timing completely wrong. Vuric, the long, you've got to slide that lead leg so far forward. Caldwell did it, Vuric did it, and that's what's cost Johaug potentially maybe not even going through to the semi.
Well, let's have another look at this one. I think this was all about reputation. The American and the Italian knew that they should have been beating Johaug. Johaug had nothing left in the legs. If she'd gone for the drive, look at that. She can't move her leg. Well, she would certainly have fallen across the line.
In terms of stature, she's the shortest of these three, but she could still have stretched that leg forward and
you know what, Mike? She's never had to sprint for the line in a sprint before. She's never been in that situation, so perhaps that's a technique she just hasn't practiced. Well, exciting stuff so far. Björgen safely through.
And good news for Kowalczyk. She still remains as a lucky loser time. It was a fast heat, but of course they were still 3 seconds behind Björgen.
So heat number 3 and number 16, that's Lorien van der Graaf, who made the final in this sprint in Lenzerheide last year, so she's got potential. Hannah Kolb, the fastest qualifier, 3:45.7, and not much faster than Kiloinen or Nielsen, also in this group. There's Nielsen in the blue bib as the leader of the under-23 in the Tour de Ski, and I think she's going to keep blue all the way through. 6 on the near side is Kiloinen, who was 7th, just missed out on a final place last year, so she's dangerous. Jaskowiec of Poland, we've not seen much of her on this tour. She's at the back of the field at the moment, and Jessie Diggins of USA, well, doesn't seem to be the same Jessie Diggins as we've seen over the last couple of years.
Well, she certainly, she said her period over Christmas in Davos has certainly helped her. Her family came over from America, that was good, so she said she would be racing better now, and I think it has improved after Christmas. And I think that Jessie Diggins, although she's the slowest time in the qualifying in this pack here, I think her strategies, her close pack racing is very good.
Well, she's got herself in a second place, which is ideal at the moment. Nielsen of Sweden down in 5th, and we've got Jaskowiec of Poland at the back of the field at the moment. Now, who's got a good pair of skis on their feet? Diggins moving up, but I think that was due to effort, and she finds herself very wide in the soft snow.
She was lucky to get round.
I think a lot of the other racers will have been watching that on the screen and realised that you need to be on the inside line on that first left-hand bend.
You do, and Diggins, great line on the second sharp wall, the sharp righter at the bottom of that descent with somewhat 55 kilometres speed pace coming into that corner. She's done well.
Yeah, Van der Graaf perhaps not racing too fair in that she seemed to take pleasure in pushing Jessie Diggins out wide. I don't think we're going to see a protest at this stage, but had Diggins been forced into the side banners, there certainly would have been one.
I think they would have. You're certainly not allowed to touch or push or have any body contact. It's difficult when you've got 6 people across a, widest part, 6 metre, well, 12 metres in the stadium. The track is that wide.
So they're over halfway now with 1:55 on the clock, looking for a time. Sub 3:40 would be handy, and we'll see how they go. Mike, in terms of the last heat, looks a fraction quicker, but not massively.
Yeah, with Heidi Weng's going to set a strong pace without a doubt. Kikin Randall's coming back into form in the last heat, and of course Fala, we know that when it comes to racing like this, head-to-head racing, she raises her game. Here's the steep climb again. The legs are beginning to feel this pace, having done, well, 1.5 laps with 1 minute, just over a minute to go of racing. Jessie Diggins, well, struggling now, maybe after that early, strong start. Van de Graaff needs to close the gap if she wants to make it through to the final like last year in this race, although it was in Lenzerheide at this time last year.
Nielsen's moved nicely up. Diggins dropping back, having put in a lot of effort early on. Again, nearly falls on the corner. But it's Germany who lead at the moment with Hannah Kolb, who's looking very solid, and they've got a decent lead, the German and the Swede, but coming well in the closing stages is Lorien van der Graaf of Switzerland. She's got another 10 metres or so to make up. 3:16.17 on the clock, 30 seconds to race. In fact, a little less than that. 3:25 under the Wiesmann barrier. And the last 100 metres now. This is a 3-way race for the 2 finalist places. Nielsen, a strong technique, but the tempo is not high, and that allows van der Graaf to come through. Nielsen, though, just pipping it. Kolb certainly in third.
Yeah, definitely. Van der Graaf, she was so relaxed. She was in third place, didn't panic, and slowly just cruised through to first.
Good finish from Nielsen, taking full advantage of her lengthy legs.
Well, it seems like it was Nielsen that took that. I thought it was Graaf, but on the side view it looks like Nielsen.
Well, that's irrelevant really. They're both going through to the semi-final, and their time in that first heat counts for nothing. Good start from van der Graaf. Well, you might just have heard Kjell-Erik Christiansen announcing that Justina Kowalczyk is still in top spot in terms of lucky losers. It's only 0.3 of a second, and really the script writers want that to remain the case, don't they, Mike? We want Kowalczyk to stay in this tour and stay competitive for as long as possible. So on to heat number 4, and we have the second fastest racer in this one, Ingvild Flugstad Oshberg of Norway, who's already won a sprint this year in Davos. She was second in this race here in Valmester back in 2013 to, of course, Kikin Randall, but she won this sprint in Lenzerheide last year, so she's got a fantastic record. There she is, wearing bib number 2. She's done exceptionally well so far on the tour, lying in 9th position. 9 nearest the camera is Petra Novakova from the Czech Republic. Sadie Bjornsson of USA wearing 12. You can see her in the stars and stripes. And then Ragnhild Haga, another woman we want to watch out for because she's in the top 10 of the tour standings and wearing bib number 19, second from right. And 2 Norwegians in this heat. And what has happened there, Mike? I think that's...
looks like she's pulled a shoulder injury, an elbow injury. Just, I haven't seen that before. The double pulling.
Novakova, has she dislocated her elbow? It's certainly a possibility. Or is it the shoulder that's come out?
I thought it was the shoulder. Just the initial impact of the double pulling. It's certainly, she's going no further in this race, that's for sure. And she was the second fastest out of the 6 in qualifying.
Yeah, she's going, if it's a shoulder dislocation, she's going no further in the tour. In fact, we probably won't see her again this season. So that, although it looked fairly innocuous, could be very serious indeed. Well, we'll pick up on that, and there's no point in speculating over the injury. Oh, it looks, you can tell by, yeah, there's a lot of pain there.
What a pity.
Bitterly disappointing. They need to get her off the track as they come round. So 5 in the race.
You know, a warm-up, it's only -5 today, but you see the athletes warming up, getting their shoulders and running, jogging with their ski poles. The warm-up prior to this impact is so important. I'm sure she did carry out a decent warm-up, but it can still happen, take you by surprise.
Good start so far from Greta Laurent of Italy, who was the slowest qualifier, but she's lying in second place, and a full 12 seconds between her and Usberg in qualifying. Usberg in control, very much in control. I'd be surprised to see her knocked out of this one at any stage. And they're quick, Mike. They are certainly quicker, or in fact Usberg is, than the second and the third heat.
I'm slightly concerned for Usberg. She took 7 seconds out of anyone else in this pack in qualifying. I'm surprised she's putting so much pace in. As long as she's comfortable at the front, she needs to save energy for the semi-final, then the final.
Do you think she could afford to be racing in second or third place, knowing that she'll be strong enough in the closing stages?
No, I think there's the risk. We saw a trip there from Haga and bib 29, of course, that's Laurent. But so you're better at the front if you've got the strength, but why be 40 metres ahead, 50?
But you're ignoring the fact that if you're sitting in behind someone else, you're doing a little bit less work.
Yeah, when you're leading these all the time, you're not getting the advantages of drafting, but there's no stopping Usberg.
Yeah, and I'm just surprised she hasn't had a look over her shoulder to see how far ahead she is. She could have cruised that uphill, and the more she can save for the next round, the better. So is she showing her inexperience here? Look at the margin she's got.
It's safe, maybe in her mind, and quite right, you've got to play it, you've got to be safe, you've got to get through to the next round, and she'll back off now, take these corners more easily, and glide home. Get a recovery now. She did look back there and saw they're miles behind.
Trying to get you to be critical of this sort of tactic, because we've seen it so many times before. You burn all your energy early on. She's now 50 metres clear. She could take her skis off and walk, although she'd be disqualified. She surely has to be aware of what's going on. Finally, she looks over her shoulder. No need for a sprint, so that is safe.
That is safe, but I do think you need the money in the bank, the safety around that fast left-hander, just in case she had any threat or took a tumble there. She was playing very, very safe.
Well, let's agree to disagree on that one. Do get in touch with your emails. Let us know what you think about that situation. Should Usberg have pushed and pushed as she did to get an easy win? I know she's cruising now, but the work she did on the uphill was perhaps unnecessary, and that's what builds the lactate. She avoids a sprint for the finish, which has to be a good thing. And coming strong in for the USA, Sadie Bjornsson. Oh, what's the time? 3:58. They're miles outside Kowalczyk's time, so no chance of a lucky loser from that group. Looks like Osberger and Haga are going through. So the final heat of the first round of the women's sprint here in Valmuster. This is round 3 of the Tour de Ski, incidentally. If you've just joined us, that's 3 of 7. We run right through to next Sunday. Keegan Randall, previous winner here in Valmuster. In fact, she won the first ever sprint here in Valmuster, so she's got a reputation to live up to. Can she do it? Wearing lucky 13, we'll see. So away they go on the near side, just to run through the runners. Divatolis of Italy in the red suit. Next door to her, we've got Sevasek of Slovenia. We've got Falla of Norway wearing 23, and we've got a faller already. That actually is, I think that was Sevasek going down, was it, Mike?
It was. That's a real pity for her. She'll have a struggle to get back in with this pace now.
Was Emma Vicken of Sweden at the back of the field at the moment? Was she involved? I'm not sure.
I missed that one, and Sevasek is a long way back. I thought she'd have lifted herself up and got straight back into action, but clearly took some time in the fall.
Heidi Weng in the black and white vest at the front, just stamping her authority on this one. Falla is in this as well. But this is an important race because Randall is there, who, as we mentioned, won 2 years ago. We've got Emma Vicken, who's up in the top 10 of the Tour de Ski standings for Sweden. She needs a good race today. The fastest qualifier, Heidi Weng. I don't think there's much doubt that she'll go through unless some incident happens on the way round. But who else is going to go through from this heat?
Well, Divatolis, the Italian sprint program is excellent. We saw Vauric earlier putting in a great pace. She's not in a good position at the moment, and well, Weng is destroying a really strong pace up the front. I think Kikin Randall has a strong chance. Poor form really by her high standards before Christmas, but everything about her now looks so much sharper, and that confidence we see in the start line is back.
They're looking for a time of sub 1:48 when they go past the black starting banner, which will be on their left-hand side. So they've still got 10 seconds to get inside that marker. That's what they're after for the lucky loser. And with the leading four very tightly bunched, they are quick. This is a good time. And Justyna Kowalczyk will be a little bit nervous watching this one.
She will. Well, she'll be away just psyching up, warming up, doing her preparation for, well, the next, 20 minutes when she could be out again. Shebashek, well done to her. She's keeping on fighting, closing the gap on this hideous pace at the front.
Incidentally, we didn't mention, Mike, that Justyna Kowalczyk qualified in 30th position out of 30. So she scraped through by the skin of her ski tip.
Well, she did, and well, she just the next, well, 0.3 of a second she was ahead of the next finisher.
Well, I've got a time of 2:38, 2:39 for the top of this climb. And I think they're going to be comfortably inside that. They are comfortably inside. Still a margin of some 4-5 seconds. And Keegan Randall looking to finish first. If Kowalczyk's going to get knocked out, two have got to finish inside that 2:42. Or in fact, all four of that leading group have got to finish inside 2:42.2.
Well, Deborah Tolis is now losing back, so she doesn't look likely. Still for me, Randall in third place as well, in. And I love the aggression from Heidi Weng. Every race she gives everything in the race.
A tight line required on that final right-hand corner to stay on the fast snow, but with the speed they're carrying, they all get thrown a little bit wide. Weng it is leading for Norway. Her teammate Fowler in second place at the moment, and Keegan Randall is still there, ready to pounce should it be required. She's after that time of 2:42. If she wants to go through as a lucky loser, it would be much safer to finish in second or even first place. And now Randall ups the pace, coming up alongside Fowler, but Weng is clear. 2, 3, 4, 5 metres for Heidi Weng. The woman lying in runners-up position in the Tour de Ski is going through to the semi-finals. Fowler makes it as well, and Randall on 3:38.3 goes through comfortably as a lucky loser, and Deborah Tolis 3:41.9. She goes through unofficially by a margin of 0.3 of a second, and that could mean that Kowalczyk is out of it.
Oh, what a pity for Kowalczyk, and Deborah Tolis, well, good for her for keeping on pushing. It was a very fast pace set there by Heidi Weng.
All credit to Deborah Tolis though, Mike, because she lost contact with the leading three, but she fought and she fought and she fought, and she must have known, she must have got some splits from someone for her to push that hard.
How brilliant. Has it got her through? We don't know it quite yet, but I think it has.
Well,
no, it hasn't.
No, 5.6, so those early timings were incorrect. Well, we're still waiting for confirmation. We'll give you that just as soon as it comes up on our screens, but there must have been a slight mistake on the timings, because she was comfortably inside Kowalczyk's time initially. That seems to have changed. We'll try and keep you informed.
It looks like
Randall is definitely through as a lucky loser.
Hannah Kolb as well.
Hannah Kolb goes through. So we were correct in the fact that Kowalczyk is out. Kolb goes through. Deborah Tolis just misses out. A little unlucky with the effort that she put in. Now, of course, we turn our mind to the first heat of the men's. Roman Fugger for Switzerland. He's got a lot of fans here, as has Erwin Kaiser and, of course, Dario Cologna. So we've got Petter Northug wearing bib number 1. There he is nearest the camera, the leader of the Tour de Ski. He must go through. He must get a semi-final place if he wants to win this year. Chernozov for Russia is there with 10. Fugger we've already seen from Switzerland, 11. Valius of Canada, and the Canadians and the North Americans actually always doing well at this stage of the Tour de Ski. He wears 20. 21 is Dusan Kozisek of the Czech Republic, who safely rounds that first corner. And then Simeon Hamilton, who won the sprint in Lenzerheide last year, lying in, he's wearing number 30, qualified in 30th place. Last year, Mike, he qualified in first.
He did, he was in great form, and it was a wonderful moment for him to take his first World Cup victory. Today, he's got a lot of work to do. He's placing himself in a decent, well, at the back, safety position at the back. And interesting that Petter Northug has gone so early. He doesn't want any problems with the traffic.
Well, I was saying, interesting that he's going so slowly. He seems to be... you know, he's another character on the tour who does control the other skiers. They're quite likely to show him respect, but not if he goes that wide on the corners. That's a bad mistake by Petter Northug. He'll have to learn that for the final lap.
Chernusov, that was a nice line he took round the corner, but Northug's aura seems to affect anybody who's coming around to pass him. He just gives them a growl, a look, and they seem to back off.
Well, I was wondering if that's how he won the race 2 days ago, because people had forgotten just how good a finisher Northug can be. For, what, 18 months, we haven't seen the vintage Northug.
He wasn't the same racer last year, that's for sure, but all his anger or all his psychology that he puts into racing, it's back, and it's as sharp as, I think, it's as sharp as it's ever been. Valyas 20, the Canadian, needs to keep the pace strong. He's the tallest, about 6'4" of an athlete.
Ferger looks almost identical to Dario Cologna. Perhaps not quite as good technically, but it's a similar technique. There's no doubt that skiing alongside or behind Dario Cologna has affected the way he skis, and he lies in second place at the moment, coming up alongside Petter Northug. Now he's starting to wind it up. Remember, the men and women racing over the same distance, 1,400 metres, and the men could well complete it in around 3:10, 3:15.
I think Northug is doing the right thing here. He allows himself the best racing line, so doing the most efficient way around this track without the hassle of being involved in a scrap, in a fight in the pack.
So Northug still leading. Kozisek of the Czech Republic in second. Third for Russia is Ilya Shunazov, who looks solid on that corner yet again. Northug no problems this time round. For the Americans, we've got Simeon Hamilton down in fourth. He's got to up his game in the closing stages. 3:10, remember, the fastest qualifying time from Petter Northug, so he's got another 20 seconds of racing. I like these bumps and dips, Mike, because if you've got some energy, you can still work, you can still gain half a second or so.
You can. Northug he took that very, very wide, almost allowing the door wide open.
Now he has to up his game. Good effort going in from Kozisek, who still holds on to second. Hamilton on the far side for USA, trying to get into one of the automatic qualifiers, but just misses out. And Chernusov will have to wait and see whether he's done enough. 3:13.5, 3.5 seconds slower than the fastest qualifier earlier on this morning.
That was Northug. doesn't even look out of breath.
His form's coming back, his cheek is coming back.
And he needs that edge, and it's all about the strength of his mind. He needs to get himself up for the fight, up for the competitive push.
Well, we mentioned that we haven't seen him at his best form for a long time, and do you agree that it was all down to the virus that he had, not this summer, but the previous summer?
And I think the intensity that he was racing 2 years ago, remember the final stage of the Tour de Ski, he was passed from second to third, I think into fourth. He was giving everything in every race.
Heat number 2, and the dramatic music appropriate, because this is a big moment for British skiing. Andrew Young, who's actually done very well on the tour. We haven't seen much of Andrew Young because Andrew Musgrave has done so well, but Andrew Young, if Musgrave wasn't there, he would have achieved the best British results, and we would have been singing his praises. So nice to see him in this second heat. He's got some pretty awesome company. He's not only got the world #1 from last year, he's got a former sprint champion, Emil Jonsson, who's tough to beat in any race. For Switzerland, the local man, Erwin Kaiser, what can he do today? Young on the far side. He's a big man. He's a big, strong man, Mike. How's he going to cope with the steeper uphill sections?
I think he'll be fine. He's got his own rhythm, his massive strength. He's got a really long stride. I think he'll play it quite easy for this first quarter, and then he'll have to get into the big hunt as it progresses. Sundby's going to want to try and lead this. He's not going to, though.
Now, I know Andrew Young's had problems with his heart over the years, a form of tachycardia, which suddenly means that the pulse rate goes up 10, 15, maybe even more beats per minute than would normally be the case, and suddenly the heart is less effective. It happened in Sochi in the sprint there. He had to pull out of the team event, so fingers crossed that it doesn't happen on this occasion. You never quite know when it's going to kick in, but That's just one of the problems he's had to overcome.
And at 22 as well, Andrew Young, he's just a beginner compared to the depth and the strength that a lot of these athletes have had in their career. So well done to be in this little heat here, big heat here.
Well, that's an incredible start by Erwin Kaiser for Switzerland. He's blasted out of the blocks and he's still working. I sort of get the feeling that his aim today is to make it through to the semi-finals, and his only chance of doing that is to give it 100% in the first round.
These corners are becoming more difficult as it's becoming pressed, all the powder's been pushed off, so we might see some falls in that corner as we progress.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that they're not, those who have the space aren't starting the corner a little wider and trying to get onto the apex of the corner on the inside, because that's where the better snow is and away from the icy sections.
Yeah, it's interesting. Andrew Young just trying to get his line. He's going to start hopefully moving through the pack now.
Well, he's still in with a chance. He's alongside Shurizef at the moment. This perhaps his opportunity to get in contact with the leading three. Top two go through, plus the two fastest losers. 1:55. Let's get a marker on this race. Past the pipes at 2 minutes.
Sunbi always appears to be taking the long way around. The inside line on that left-hander was the best, but well, that's why he wanted space to try and make his break now, and it's working. Andrew Young coming through brilliant into third place. Important part of the track to make this move.
Sunbi lying in 8th place in the Tour de Ski standings at the moment. He's, I guess he started the Tour as the favourite alongside Dario Colonia.
I think so, and the way Sunbi has started this season, a great start. He's not an out-and-out sprinter. He's been on the podium a few times, but he's definitely better over the long distance.
Now, there are moments to look back. I'm not sure that corner was the ideal opportunity for Sunbi, but he's a brilliant downhill skier as well, and he took in the situation, and now we'll see him just cruise to the line, because he knows he's got 30 metres or so over third place, which is held by Andrew Young of Great Britain at the moment. Will it be good enough to go through the semi-finals? I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see. 2:14.1, the fastest lucky loser at the moment.
Come on, Andrew. He's good. This is going to be a good time as well, Patrick, at 3:14. Well, a little slower maybe than the first heat.
Sunbi and Jonsson up the front. Sunbi's been on a cruise for the last 500-600 metres. Jonsson just trying to establish a little bit of superiority over the Norwegian. Takes the win in 3:16.5, 3:17.9. That, in my book, is not good enough for a lucky loser slot, but a really good run from Andrew Young. And with a good qualifying time, actually, Mike, we could see him finish in the top 20 today.
I think so, and I really, really hope so. I think it was a very mature performance. He didn't panic early on, Andrew Young, and it moved through at half distance. That's the place to make your move. On the other hand, Kaiser went so strong early on and died in the second rotation.
He had to give it a go.
he had to give it a go. Impress his home crowd. Lovely little valley this on the edge of Italy in the southeast of Switzerland. Sunbi, that was good from Sunbi there, the back off, he was safe and just saved it for the next time.
Well, that's exactly what I thought Usberg would do in her heat, but it wasn't the case. So heat 3, and we have perhaps the best cross-country skier on the planet lined up alongside Great Britain's #1, Andrew Musgrave. So Dario Colonia in this heat. He wears number 15. Nearest the camera, number 6 is Pellegrino of Italy, a really exciting sprinter, and he's done well over the years, Pellegrino. In fact, he finished second here 2 years ago to Finn-Hung Krok of Norway, who is not here today. Number 6, that is Pellegrino. There's Dario Colonia.
Just contrasting the two, Patrick. Pellegrino is this restless racer. Colonia is this controlled racer, never wasting any energy.
Niskanen for Finland also racing. Tim Schanke for Germany. And only 2 Germans making it through to the last 30. So the German women doing a little bit better than their male counterparts at the moment. Andy Musgrave going into 5th position. I think he's learned a lot. He seems to have wised up a lot over the last 12 months, particularly, Mike, and he'll know that he needs to come into the home straight without having put in a massive burst for position.
And that is, remember last year in Lenzerheide, Andrew led into the final 500 metres, but it allowed, and some of the slipstreaming behind him allowed the slingshot effect from the corners. And I like the way he started this one, Andy Musgrave. It's looking good. We know he's fast, we know he's strong, and tactically better all the time.
Do you think he said Pellegrino is the danger man? I'll just track him.
It's an interesting heat, actually. It's Cologna's going to want to clearly make the top two, and I think he will. It's a tough one. Belov's on good sprint form. We haven't seen it for a long time as good as this. It's a very tough heat, this one.
Musgrave, who learnt his skiing in Alaska when his father was working out there, and of course he comes from Huntley, where they've built a short roller ski track, but my goodness, it just shows that if you have the facilities, you can produce the talent, and without the facilities it's virtually impossible.
You need some facility and a great heartbeat there in the Huntley club, and you need all that, all the support, so many people giving so much time to create youngsters coming through.
So Musgrave just positioned behind Dario Cologna at the moment, who's behind Pellegrino for Italy. We've got Belov of Russia in second, and Tim Shanka, who's led the whole race so far, but just about to be deposed as the heat leader. Musgrave making a little bit of a move, but I think he might find himself on the outside of the next corner, which could be a little bit of a problem. It's a competitive heat, this one. Every single member still in it, and Niskanen, the under-23 leader of the Tour de Ski, at the back of the pack at the moment.
Everybody knows you want to be in top three positions at the top of this rise. Just coming up on the after this left-hander, Muzzy tried to get through, and Dario Cologna in black blocked the way through. He knew that he couldn't let an athlete through.
Good blast from Belov, puts him into top spot. Pellegrino in second, and the gaps are widening at the moment. Dario Cologna again cuts off Musgrave on the inside. That's something that Musgrave maybe needs to change in the next heat if he makes it through. But that's cost Musgrave some 5-6 metres and makes his job even harder. 2:27. We're looking for a time of under 3:14 for the first four if we're going to get some lucky losers from this heat.
Muzzy's still good. He's carrying better pace into the corner. Can he carry it out of the corner to match Cologna? I think he can.
Well, Cologna would be a fantastic scalp to take as they head up towards the top of the stadium, over the camel bumps, then that long left-hand turn where certainly you can make up ground if you've got any strength left in the skis. Musgrave static skis at the moment, which means he will not accelerate. Belov and Pellegrino are going to fight this one out for the win. We've got Cologna in second, and now Musgrave comes with 70 metres to go, trying to take the scalp of the world #1 Dario Cologna, and Musgrave's getting closer and closer, but it's going to be fourth place. Great race, what a fantastic effort. 3:15.7, an astonishing time, but not quick enough to qualify as a lucky loser. So both the Brits sadly going out in the first round, but how good is it that they both made it through into the top 30?
Excellent, and then so close there to matching the time of Cologna, who can barely stand. They're tough. These heats are very tough, and I think this was one of the harder heats with Belov, Pellegrino in there, Cologna in there.
Well, a much better race from Musgrave. No red mist today. But should there have been a little more aggression to stop Cologna controlling that third position?
He tried, and when Muzzy did everything right at the half distance, tried to get through, but cheekily a little, Cologna closed him out. But Muzzy had the pace to come through. Had he got ahead of Cologna at that point, things could have been so different. He may well have stayed in contact with Belov, but you just have to react to how it is unfolding in front of you.
So there you see the timings. Well, this is what winter is all about. We could do with a little more snow, but it is a fantastic winter scene here in Val Moster, and I'm so glad the Tour have come back here after a break last year. But it seems that as long as the Tour goes on, there will be a leg in Switzerland, and that is all down to Dario Cologna's success.
It is, and it's Switzerland, a great place for racing, and the organising committee, as usual, doing a great job. Maybe the younger brother, Cologna, can take a top two position here.
Bernard Tritcher, very quick in qualifying. Bizarrely so, 3:10.67. I haven't seen him sprint like that ever. So we'll see how he gets on. Devon Kershaw for Canada. Keep an eye on him. He's wearing number 19, and the Canadian suit predominantly white with a little bit of red in it. On the near side for Poland is Starega in the red suit with the white flash down the leg. And the two leaders, both from France, De Ruyter and Baptiste Gros at the moment. Well, a little bit of teamwork going on. I wonder whether they discuss that, Mike, because they can now control the pace. There is room for a third person to go around, but it's unlikely to happen.
It's unlikely, and maybe that was a strategy. Maybe it's just unfolded that way. I'm so pleased to see Devon Kershaw back in much better form. He's in 5th place at the moment. I'd love to see him go through this one, build his confidence back up. He's a very good racer, but a poor start to his season. Tritcher's restless there in 3rd place, nearly stumbled twice, 3 times. Certainly the fastest in this heat.
Yeah, it's a fast corner. It's difficult to hang on to that inside line, but the better snow is certainly on the inside. I think the final's going to be interesting in both the men and the women's event, because they're going to be fighting for position at the top of that initial steep corner.
It's just a scrap in the end, and this is where it's becoming difficult, much more difficult in this corner. Difficult to take the inside line. You're carrying so much pace.
Yeah, often going wide is an advantage because the snow's been pushed wide. You get a little bank which allows you just to bank your turn like an indoor cycle track. But here the snow is so soft, the snow coming off the top is so soft that it's giving way under the pressure. So I still think you're safer on a tighter line.
Well, it appears that way. You can get a slingshot out of it if you take it wide and then cut in as quickly as you can. Tritcher using his pace now on the flat.
Tritcher number 2 with the yellow headband. It's an impressive run, Mike, but it's not been tidy. Little stumbles here and there, bad technique on the downhill corners, and all that just costs a little bit of energy, pushes up the pulse rate, and means that if he does go through, he's going to have less to give in the semi-finals. But it is Tritcher who leads at the moment. In 2nd place for France, we've got Renauget. It looks as though his teammate Gros has given up the ghost on this one, sitting at the back along with Devon Kershaw.
And often when you put that crazy initial pace in, the first half a lap, you've got 2 laps to go. Well, there it's certainly not paid off for Baptiste Gros. But Tritcher, I think, looks safe. He just has to negotiate this bend, then the bumps, and the final corner.
Tritcher, Jay, Storager, the 3 going for those 2 qualifying places. I'm not sure that anyone else is going to get a look in here. Gianluca Cologna in 4th place at the moment. Unless he takes this last corner brilliantly, he's going to struggle to make it through to the top 2. Losing ground on that final corner. It's still Tritcher who leads. A good blast coming in from the pole. Storager on the near side, and it's Storager who's got the strength to give in the closing stages. Tritcher now fading. Jay of France coming up, could snatch the 2nd place, but not quite. Very tight finish, but I think Tritcher's going to get that one. And Gianluca Cologna down in 4th place, 3:17.5. So again, not that quick, Mike, and I'm just wondering whether the course is getting slower and slower as the race goes on and the soft snow builds up.
Possibly a little factor in it, but remember the previous heat, 3:13.5. I'm not sure it's making that much of a difference.
So, Storager across first, and Tritcher, I think,
what was
getting
that, 2 centimetres at the end there. Tritcher nearly got it wrong at the end.
Yeah, if Jay had gone for a pair of boots 2 sizes bigger, he would have had that one. But in the end, he's down in 3rd. So 3 down, or 4 down, 1 to go in the first round of the men's race. And this is a very talented field and a really important one, because 4 of the members in this heat are still in the top 10 of the Tour de Ski rankings. And of course, we have the man lying in runners-up position, Alex Harvey of Canada, who pulled out of the Tour last year, but he started very well with some impressive results. It would be nice to see Harvey in the mix come the Alpe d'Huez next Sunday.
Well, Harvey certainly looks sharp, and Halverson looks even sharper. Well, they're charged to the line, but of course Harvey just passed Halverson on the line 2 days ago.
Yeah, what's Halverson got to do? He's in 3rd place in the Tour, 10.8 seconds behind the leader, Petter Northug. We've also got Alex Harvey, who we've said is in 2nd. He's in the black bib in the middle of this field. Also going in this heat, we've got Deerhaug of Norway, number 28. who's at the back at the moment, just behind Harvey. We've got Simon Andersson of Sweden, who's gone for a good position early on, and Thomas Bing of Germany also in this heat. There he is, number 13. And Polterainen in the blue and yellow suit.
Halvorsen having to go the wide way, the long way around that corner and then up the hill because of his teammate Andersson leading. But this is good for Sweden. Pace is backing off now, he's just getting the glide down this descent.
Halvorsen, the fastest qualifier in 3:12.89. He was over 2 seconds slower than Petter Northug, and there goes Thomas Bing of Germany down, and I'm afraid out of this one.
Well, that's the first faller on that bend. I thought we might see a few more at this stage, and possibly through to the final we may see it. Harvey surprisingly struggling at the moment, or is he? He always seems to come back in sprint racing. He's always got a great last 500 metres.
He's going to need it. He's going to need it. But this is a tough course here in Valmostert, and all those who've gone off hard have looked as though they're struggling later on. Petter Northug went early, Mike, but he got to the front and then he steadied the pace. I think he was well aware of the danger of building that lactate before the final lap.
I think you're right, but Halvorsen, you know, his mindset is saying, I've got to keep my position in this tour, I've got to keep the points, so he's really attacked from the gun. Polterainen looking good, he's improved so much in his sprint racing. Bib number 8 there, 3rd place.
Halvorsen leads, his teammate Andersson in 2nd place at the moment. Polterainen, who did a 3:15.89 in qualifying, in 3rd. Just behind them is Niklas Dyrhaug of Norway, 4th in the tour standings at the moment, just 17 seconds off the leader, so a big day for him as well. And at the back of this group, when you consider that Bing has gone, is Alex Harvey, who was at the back, and now he's starting to make that bib move, Mike.
He's such a clever racer. I think he's going to be all right. That's him just past Polterainen, so he's moved from 5th up into 3rd. He's going to have momentum over this rise.
Is Harvey a potential winner of this year's Tour de Ski?
I love the way he doesn't get stressed, no matter how far out of contact he is, but he's a little unstable around this bend.
Well, I think we're going to see some drama on that corner come the final stages of the sprints here in Valmostert. Currently the lucky losers, Hamilton, who was the winner last year, and Chernousov still in top spot. It looks as though Halvorsen has got this one in the bag. Harvey controlling 2nd place at the moment, but there's one long corner and then the finishing straight still to negotiate. Will he be able to hold on? There could be some pressure coming in from Simon Andersson of Sweden, who's in 3rd at the moment, and Polterainen's not out of this one. He looks right, has to go left in the end, looking for a clean lane into the finish, and it's Halvorsen who eases up coming into the line. Harvey fighting for 2nd. Oh, I think Andersson had the quicker jab with the foot and might just have claimed it.
Harvey was caught sleeping there. He didn't really extend his leg out. Has that cost him dearly? I think it has.
I think it's cost him that automatic qualifying place, and that could be absolutely crucial come the Tour standings. Well, Halvorsen almost getting in the way of his teammate. There's no doubt that Andersson has finished 2nd, and Harvey has to wait and see whether he's done enough. I don't think he's in there.
No chance.
Simon Andersson looks like he just got his foot.
There.
Welcome back to Valmostert. We're waiting for the start of the first women's semi-final. Sophie Caldwell of USA looks delighted to have made it through. She needs to just calm it down and prepare for this semi-final. It is a big race. Stina Nielsen's done nothing wrong so far on this tour. She leads the under-23 standings. And number 14, Gaia Vurich, a very good first round race. Really solid performance from the Italian to qualify for the semi-finals. But Marit Bjørgen is on the start sheet on the far side, and of course the hot favourite. So Bjørgen, Caldwell, Nielsen 15, 10 is Shapovalova of Russia. We've got Vurich of Italy, number 14, and Hanna Kolb in wearing number 5. So 2 Swedes. Kolb at the back, it's 1 Swede I should say, Kolb of course from Germany, and Nielsen is the Swede in 2nd place at the moment. And again, Marit Bjørgen doesn't seem to have any trouble applying the pressure going into the front, but another little stumble. We saw one of those on the first round from Bjørgen. I guess if you're going to make a mistake, make it early, Mike.
Making mistakes early. I love the way that Nielsen, she realizes who's going to potentially win overall, or certainly win this one, and she's trying to get into her slipstream. Nielsen, what a find. Another star coming through for the Swedes.
Obviously saw her at the Junior World Championships last year. Do you know anything else about her background?
Just the way we saw her racing at the Junior Worlds, that you could see that she was a class act. The aggression, the attack, everything technical about her was brilliant. And the Swedish club system is good, maybe not as quite as good as the Norwegian club system, but on skis from the age of 4.
So Bjørgen leading and looks very solid. Got a question for you, Mike. Last week I happened to be in the same hotel just by chance as the English rugby team, and I had a look at their training room. I guess it's their tactics room where they decide what they're going to do, what plans they're going to put in place, and in big red writing on the wall were 3 words, and the second 2 is everything. What was the first word?
Winning.
Well, winning, it could be winning, it could be fitness, it could be strength.
What was it?
Attitude.
You know, it is such a powerful, the attitude, how you carry yourself, your attitude towards the positivity. We see, I think, Kicken Randall, one of the best. The positive attitude often comes through. What else did they say in there?
Well, that was all. That was all I saw.
It is so true. Even when you think you're down and out, if your attitude keeps on fighting, if you still believe you can get through, often you can.
2:15 plus the Swiss bells for Marit Bjørgen. Remember that time for the next of the semis, so we get some indication of which is faster. Again, it's the first 2 plus the 2 lucky losers who will make it through into the final. I don't think there's much doubt about who the 2 winners are going to be here. Nielsen has put in an absolutely storming race. Good effort from Sophie Caldwell, but she's got to keep pushing. She has to record a time of, what do you think, Mike? Somewhere around 3:41 might sort of secure a lucky loser spot.
I think it might well do. This is certainly going to be a fast lap, so we're going to see Bjørgen breaking the field by normally 3 or 4 seconds. Of course, Nielsen not letting her go, but I think the coaches have said to Bjørgen, take it easy, take that first lap easy, then open up on the big steep climb, which she did do this time.
Over the rollers, and Bjørgen breathing hard. Don't think for a second that this is easy for her, but she just finds it a fraction easier than everyone else. Still leading, yet to be beaten in this year's Tour de Ski. Is she going to go all the way and claim 7 wins? That would be sensational, but it's highly unlikely to happen. Marit Bjørgen leads into the home straight. Nielsen has checked right, she's checked left. No need to make any adjustments of pace, no need for the sprint. She can save that for the final, because Lena Nielsen is going through. 3rd place to Caldwell, 3:40.3. That is quick for fastest lucky loser.
Patrick, the 2 lucky losers, I think we're looking at them there, Caldwell and Valric. That pace was so strong, even though Bjørgen looked like she'd backed off on the first lap.
Nice technique from Marit Bjørgen round the corner. Vurik looks comfortable. Caldwell looking very, very easy on her skis. She's had another good day here in Valmøster, but still no one has found a way past Marit Bjørgen as yet. 34 years of age. How much longer can she go on being so dominant?
Well, I think she could even have as many as another 4 years in her racing career, at least.
So 1 more semi to go in the women's, and they are on the start line. There is Heidi Weng, runner-up in the Tour at the moment, but she's 1 minute 1 second behind Marit Bjørgen. She's got work to do. Randall. There's your attitude, Mike.
She's back.
There is your attitude.
She's just thinking, I can do anything. I've got 4 Norwegian red suits alongside me, but I can do anything.
Ragnhild Haga got her first podium in the prologue. Excellent race from her. Maika Kaspersen-Faller. So the Norwegians in numbers, 4 of them in this second semi-final, and there is the best of them. Østberg, sensational so far. And Lorian van der Graaf will have to team up with Kicken Randall to see if they can find a way past the Scandinavians. 4 Norwegians, 1 Swiss, 1 American. Here we go, the women's second semi-final, looking for a time of sub 3:30 now if they want to get a lucky loser.
Van de Graaf, everything about Van de Graaf. Last time she looked good, and now she started even better this time. She'll realise it's Usberg that she needs to get in behind.
Usberg has blasted out of the blocks as we expected she would do. Slightly surprised to see Heidi Weng struggling on the far side at the back of the field. She's in 6th place at the moment. Really important that Heidi Weng goes through to the final if she wants to keep some pressure on Marit Bjørgen. Now she works hard, turns it up, but this is very, very early in the race for Heidi Weng to have to be pushing so hard.
It's an incredible start though, Patrick. 36 seconds of racing to the top of that hill. It's about a second faster than we saw Bjørgen last time. So this is an incredible pace. Each of these 6 athletes realising that you've got to burn with it. You've got to go with this pace from Usberg.
Good line from Usberg at the front. Van de Graaf being thrown wide for Switzerland, but she's got a lot of fans. There is a great atmosphere here in Valmesterre. In a way, we could have done with an evening race, Mike, because a lot of people are back at work and Christmas is gone and forgotten about. An evening race would have perhaps increased the atmosphere.
I think it probably would have, but then you have to, I suppose, consider the amount of rest time for the athletes leading into the next day. Of course, another race tomorrow. I love the way Kickin Randall is a little bit like Alex Harvey. She doesn't get involved too much with this crazy early pace. Now she'll hopefully start applying more pressure, trying to get through this field. Difficult.
Heidi Weng, I think, where she wants to be, right on the heels of Usberg. And their teammate, Faller, not far off the pace at the moment. Hager is the one struggling at the back for Norway. And no move so far from Kickin Randall. Hopefully she's saving something. She came strong in the second part of the first round heat. So maybe the same tactics again from the American. Randall, who won here 2 years ago. It doesn't look as though she's going to be able to repeat that victory.
It doesn't. She's slightly off there. You'd normally be on the tails of the skis of Van de Graaf. Van de Graaf, I think, is going to try and move through.
I think they're a second up on the previous heat, Mike, and Bjørgen went past the bells at 2:15. Certainly the leader of this heat, Usberg, was 2:13.5. Heidi Weng still looking strong, despite the fact that she had to push so hard up this hill the first time round.
And Patrick, the intensity of this heat compared to the previous one, they're going to have less rest time. I think the pace they're pushing here is knocking their chances out of beating Bjørgen in the final.
Absolutely agree. Getting that first qualifying spot is that's one of the reasons you want to be first in qualifying, because you get an extra 6 minutes rest.
And Northug was aware of that. Bjørgen's aware of that. Everyone's aware of that. Northug put it together, and so did Bjørgen.
Should there be a longer delay between the semi-finals and the finals to negate or somewhat negate that situation?
I think there should be, to try and level that rest time, because as you know, getting rid of the lactic acid, recovering the muscles in a short time, it's not easy.
And it wasn't so bad when we had the small final, as they used to call it, but those days have gone.
Well, that's right. That allowed another 11, 15 minutes of recovery time to equal the slightly less level playing field.
So the domination of the Norwegians goes on. Usberg in top spot at the moment. Heidi Weng just trying to secure second place. I haven't seen her look over her shoulder, but she'll know she's safe if she does so. Weng in second, 3:36.2, but she had to put a lot of work in. Remember, she was down in 6th place after 400 metres, so she's worked well. Faller in third.
They're all through. The top 4 are through, Patrick.
Two semi-finals still to go here in Valmesterre, and then we're back for the big 6, the final of the men and the women's. There is Martin Jonsrud Sundby, last year's overall World Cup winner, technical perfectionist, and he's got an engine to match. Pellegrino, well, Desault was the out-and-out Desault, am I thinking of Desault? No, the Italian sprinter from 2002. Zorzi, that's the man I'm after. And Pellegrino reminds me of him somewhat. There's the big man. What's he got up his sleeve today? Petter Northug.
The inside line on the start grid, it's all these little advantages add up.
So Nortug, Pellegrino, Jonsson, Sundby, Kozisek of the Czech Republic in the blue and red suit at the back wearing 21, Chernozov of Russia alongside him. So we've got Norway there in numbers yet again. Italy with Pellegrino in the middle. That's a dangerous position surely for Pellegrino. He's slightly boxed in by Emil Jonsson in front of him.
And look at Nortug, it hasn't gone his way this time. He had a chance with his great start pace to, I think, to lead up at this stage, but he's got a completely different strategy this time. And with his magical finish coming back, we saw that 2 days ago, he must be feeling confident. And it really is quite slow here, Patrick. Jonsson, great turn of pace. Is it the wisest place to be for him at the front? I'm not sure it is.
Do you think Jonsson's a better classic sprinter than he is freestyle?
I've always liked his freestyle, just his pace change, nobody can match it when he's on good form, when best form.
Well, the leading four are certainly starting to pull it out, and there's a, 7-8 metre margin, but if Nortug is just cruising, he can start to make his move on the second lap, and that might be a wise decision. We'll have to wait and find out. We'll find out in just over a minute and a half's time. 1:23 on the clock at the moment.
Sundby started well, but the pace is strong up the front, and Sundby got knocked back a little.
The women went past the Swiss bells at the top of this straight in 2:13.5. That was Usberg's time, the fastest of the two women's heats. What will the men be? As we see the Russian Ilya Chernozov take the lead for the first time.
Look at this, all six within, what, half a second. Kozisek, I thought he'd be placing himself further up. Maybe he's making his move now, but going the long way round.
A lot of work from Nortug to go from fifth up into third on that last straight. That could cost him come the finishing stages, but he's getting closer to an automatic qualifying. Dujicek, wearing 21, has put in a little burst to get himself back into third. And Sundby now making a move. He's gone the long way round, but he's in fact faster than everyone else, but losing places.
And the same in his previous heat. Sundby, he's got so much strength, but he's never taken the easy line. It's always the outside line, the long way round, but it's worked.
Well, this is going to be a very tight finish indeed. The first five still have a chance of getting in there. I think Sweden's Emil Jonsson is out of this one now. A margin of 7-8 metres between himself and Petter Nortug. Nortug's got to work his magic, Mike, in the last two straights.
I think he can. He's in fifth place, but he took that inside line. He always seems to read the terrain, or is he just happy to pick up, what, 25 seconds for into tomorrow? No, surely he's got to go for this one.
Well, he's running out of time. He needs a good final corner. 150 metres still to go. And it's Norway with Sundby who lead. We've got Russia's Chernozov in there as well. Pellegrino's coming strong now. Weaves his way in between the field. And now Nortug tries to turn it up, but he might have left it too late. He's only got 10 metres left. Third place is possible. He gets third, 3:14.6 and 3:13.9. In terms of time, that's the same as Petter Nortug did in the first heat of the first round. Will it be enough? I'm not sure it will. I think the second heat will have a look at that and say we can beat that.
I'm surprised that Nortug there, you felt he could have given more on that first lap. Maybe he thinks he's safe in third as a lucky loser.
3 successive days of racing, Mike. Those who didn't make it through to the knockout phases will certainly be aware they've got an advantage tomorrow.
They have. If you're attacking another fast 3:13 at absolute maximum, it really strips you of energy.
Now, we were a little critical of Sundby's tactics going around the outside, but if you saw him over the last 5 metres of the climb, he accelerated again and went into the next downhill flat section with more speed than anyone else.
It worked.
So 3:14.6 is the time that these men need if they want to go through. Simeon Hamilton, he's still there. Is he going to do the double? He won in Lenzerheide last year. That was a big surprise. It was a good day for the North Americans with Alex Harvey getting in there as well. Number 5, Yevgeny Belov. Chernozov likely to have been knocked out. Halvorsen for Sweden. He looks very, very fired up, doesn't he? Tritcher, the big surprise in the qualifying round. He's backed it up with a good first round heat. And then number 9 on the inside, Maciej Starega of Poland.
Halvorsen did most of the work in the previous heat. I think he'll try and get out early and control this heat if he can.
Tritcher making the starter nervous. I think that was the right decision to call them back.
Did he break the... I didn't see that. Did he break the wand?
No, he didn't break the wand, but there was far too much movement for them to be allowed to start that one.
Oh, the nerves have got to be tingling throughout the whole body. Oh, maybe there is a yellow card going on. A warning.
Yeah, it's gone to Tritcher.
Makes another mistake, he's out.
Just adds to the tension.
He can't break the gun this time.
Well,
it affected Tritcher's start, didn't it? He couldn't afford to make a mistake.
Yeah, Halvorsen, I think, stole a march because of that. And as you suggested, Mike, Halvorsen has gone for that inside line. He just squeezes out Starega, who won't be particularly happy with that. Now, I had a whole pile of emails which I've gone and left behind, but a few of them made comments about Halvorsen yesterday taking out De Fabiano in that closing stages. Did you see it like that, or do you think it's just the fact that they're racing in such close quarters?
I think he skied over the front left, the left ski of De Fabiano, and I think it did play a big part in the Italian's finish, and the Italian nearly fell backwards. He lost all of his balance going over the little rise before the final 300 metres. And it happened. I don't think it was a purpose. It wasn't a deliberate error from Halvorsen.
And another topic that came up regularly was the domination of the Norwegian women. Some saying, how are they doing it? Others saying, is it a good thing?
Two different parts of that. Is it a good thing? I think it leaves some countries behind, because everyone's saying, how do we beat, is it possible to beat the Norwegians? And it isn't at the moment. You've got Bjørgen, you've got Weng, we've got so many good athletes in the women's field. But it will change. Maybe in 5 years' time it will be the Russians back again, or the Italians are coming through, the Americans are coming through. Things do change.
Certainly in the biathlon, it looks as though the Norwegian era may be coming to an end in the next season or two. Well, let's get back to this race. Halvorsen taking a wide line, but he does well to stay on his feet and keep the lead ahead of Russia's Belov, with Starega of Poland in third place at the moment. And Tritcher, no move from Tritcher, the Austrian. He's in the yellow headband, so keep an eye on him. He's likely to get boxed in on this next climb, so he might want to swap places with Simeon Hamilton of the USA, who's just on his outside.
Anderson at the back, the Swede, looking like his fight is over.
This is where Sundby made his move, and it's Belov who's pushing hardest on the final big climb here in Valmuster. Halvorsen still safe in second, but Hamilton's not giving up on this one. He's done it once. It looks as though he believes he can do it again.
Well, Belov put everything into that final climb, knowing that he needed an advantage into this descent here. It doesn't win the race, but it makes it a little safer to qualify through. Tritcher hasn't been at the races in this one, Patrick. The poor start that he had, he hasn't got in the pack.
Well, Belov's been outstanding. So he goes into the last 600 metres with a very healthy lead indeed. Over the camel humps, he works them well. Bend the knees at the top and then extend the legs as you go down the backside of the bump. Just trying to get some acceleration. Tritcher does work on that occasion. Maybe he's not quite given up on this one. Still Russia leading with Belov in second place. The runner-up in the Tour de Ski at the moment, it's Halvorsen of Sweden. He's up against Maciej Starega of Poland, who's trying to close the gap, but it looks as though Halvorsen still has the strength. Belov cruises to the line. He goes through. So does Halvorsen. And Starega with a time of 3:17.43 unofficially. I think that puts him out of the race. Northug should go through and Chernozov should go through.
In the final with Chernozov.
Can anyone beat Marit Bjørgen in this year's Tour de Ski? We're about to find out as we have a look at the results of the men's semi-final. And you might just have picked up on the qualifiers. Northug, Chernesov going through as the lucky losers from the men's semi-finals. Now, Marit Bjørgen, untouchable so far this year in the Tour. She takes a lead of 1 minute and 1 second into stage 3. And this is the lady that she leads over, Heidi Weng, the up-and-coming star in the Norwegian team. Next door to her, number 23, Falla, one of 4 Norwegians making it through to the final. Stina Nielsen, she's looked very impressive so far. She managed to track Marit Bjørgen. Can she do the same again? Østberg, second favourite here today. She's beaten Bjørgen this season. She could do it again here in Valmøster. And the local lady, Lorian van der Graaf, wouldn't it be a sensation if she stole the win?
2 years in a row she's made it into this final. What was she, 4th last year? I think it was.
4th she was last year, behind Østberg, Jakobsen and Herman.
I would love for her to improve at least by 1 this year. Make the podium would be fantastic for Swiss cross-country in the female side.
A bad start for Nielsen. She's, I think she's broken the pole.
Yep.
Now, it's not very often that anyone has a broken pole and manages to come through. Her big problem now, Mike, is that she's got the climb coming up. She's got no opportunity, without stopping the double poling, of getting the strap on her arm, and she's not elected to do that. She's going to have to wait for the first downhill section, and that will really slow her progress on this first climb. That's unlucky.
That's really unlucky. A massive test for Nielsen. Will she get her hand through that strap? She needs to, but not until she gets over this rise.
Van der Graaf left trailing by the wave of Norwegians in front. It's Weng who leads. We've got Østberg in second, Bjørgen in third, Falla in 4.
I think this is sensible from Bjørgen. She knew it was the youthful enthusiasm of Weng and Østberg, all of the younger Norwegians around her. She knew it's going to be hard, and I think she's very wise, just comfortably in 3rd position.
Well, I suspect this is when we should have been talking about the Norwegian women's domination, Mike, because this is a classic example of it. I don't think it's a good thing for the sport, but I think while it's happening, we've just got to enjoy it, and we've got to enjoy the fact that at least someone can put some pressure on Marit Bjørgen.
And it's her own team. They train alongside her, and they're watching what she does, what makes her so good. And the team spirit right now is also what's making the Norwegian team so strong.
Heidi Weng, you sense, growing in confidence. She has yet to win a World Cup. I don't think she's won a stage World Cup either. Nielsen coming back. Mike, you impressed with that?
That's so impressive. She took ages to get her hand through the strap to make the poles work more efficiently for her. She was grabbing hold of the handle. I'd love to see her get through with that massive setback.
But if we look at her fuel tank compared to those in front,
stressed.
It's in the red already.
But there's almost a, well, listen, if I can get out of this situation, then everything I'm doing from now on is a bonus, because technically she could have been 10 seconds off the pace.
Well, what sort of time are we looking at here for Marit Bjørgen? 2:15 she came round in her semi-final. She's fractionally inside that, so we're not going to see a sensationally quick time. Should be somewhere around 3:30 for this run, but it's not the time that matters, it's the placings, and 60 bonus seconds up for grabs for the winner. And Bjørgen has made a bid for glory here. No response from Østberg. Weng can't match it either, so it looks as though Marit Bjørgen's going to make it 3 out of 3 in this year's Tour de Ski, and she certainly is going for a first ever Tour win. Wow, look at that margin.
Well, we'll have to wait and see the time adjustments to see where she ranks in terms of how much ahead she is of her teammate Østberg, or Weng it should be. It's going to be at least 1 minute 15 seconds.
And how much of a time gap is she going to gain over Therese Johaug today, who is really the danger woman in terms of the overall Tour?
But look at the experience. She took the first lap within. She let the youthful enthusiasm go. She attacked on the climb, and she can destroy the field in just 200 metres.
So 3 Norwegians on the podium, top 5 in the World Cup standings at the moment for Norway. Marit Bjørgen's success certainly has had a knock-on effect with the rest of the Norwegians. Great race going on for second place, and it's Østberg, who was second fastest in qualifying, trying to take on Heidi Weng, who's going to get 3 successive podium finishes in the Tour. She's having a brilliant Tour so far, and in fact, Heidi Weng moving up in a second place, and you can see what that means to her. Another win for Bjørgen, Weng in second, Østberg third, Nielsen 4. Well done to Nielsen after that poor start and a little bit of misfortune. She does well to finish in 4th.
What a race. I think Østberg, it suffered a little because, as we said maybe earlier, she put so much attack power into her first heat and burnt a lot of energy there, so she's a little tired going into the final.
Well, I think that's going to take Marit Bjørgen's lead in the World Cup standings to over 350 points, and we're only just into the new year. It's a staggering season. Just when you thought you'd seen the best of her, she comes back, and it's looking as though this could well be her best ever season.
And did the recovery time, the extra 12 minutes that Bjørgen had, it plays a little part, because most of the athletes in this final were qualified through just 12 minutes earlier.
Well, I suspect that Nielsen's stick went under one of the other athlete's skis, and that ripped the basket off, because the pole certainly wasn't broken. And that's just a little bit of misfortune. Certainly wouldn't have been intentional.
What a turn of pace we saw there on the steepest climb from Bjørgen.
So the women's is decided. Norway get 1, 2, 3. Bjørgen, Weng, Østberg on the podium today. Well, welcome back. Just in time to see the results of the women's race. And you can see that the Tour de Ski leader, Marit Bjørgen, has won yet again. 3 wins out of 3. 4 is the most individual stage wins anyone's had in a Tour so far in a women's field. That certainly looks as though it's going to topple. But now people will be asking whether Bjørgen can win every single race.
Another dominant performance from you here in the Tour. Yeah, stayed in the pack on the first lap, and then major move on the second climb on the second lap. The strategy from the beginning?
Yeah, it was. I feel very strong, and my shape is very good. My legs is so good, and when I have perfect skis, the guys in the cabin is so incredible and do a very good job. And then it's easier to go also with good skis and good legs. Then it will go fast.
And wow, we have 4 races left now in the Tour. Tomorrow's a 5K, and toe block, you have over a minute lead. Do you take it easy tomorrow, or you keep charging?
Oh, and then I get a bib on, I want to go fast. But it's too early to say. I have still lots of races again, and yeah, I will try my best, and I feel that shape is incredible. So, and if the guys give me good skis, everything is possible.
Well, congratulations today, safe travels, and good luck tomorrow.
Thanks.
So no major revelation there. The technicians are always getting praise, as they should do, and she obviously feels good. We can see that, but she didn't really expand on her tactics. So 1 race to go. Norway could do the double, because Petter Northug has scraped through to the final, but he also has last year's World Cup winner Martin Jonsrud Sundby alongside him. Don't think the Norwegians are going to get it all their own way in this men's final. I think it could be very exciting. We've got Pellegrino of Italy, who's made it, Chernosov and Belov of Russia are in there, and of course Halvarsson of Sweden, who desperately wants to get the win to close the gap at the top of the Tour standings.
He does, and everything that Halvarsson done so far has been impressive. And will he try and take the pace out fast? Because I think Northug will want it to be tactical, want a slow first lap, and then he can put his incredible finish pace in. So it's going to be a very interesting final, and of course it's not against the clock this time, so it will be an element of strategy, tactics, and this guy's the best at that.
Well, what tactics will Northug employ this time? He let too much of a gap open up in the semi-final. but going through as a lucky loser is pretty much the ideal situation because you've used less than anyone else.
He did, he played it. I wonder if he realised that Pellegrino was setting such a good pace. I think he was trying his hardest, so it did indicate that Peder Northug was suffering a little last time to finish in third, and he got through in that lucky loser time, as you said.
Well, 4 of the qualifiers have come from the first group, Mike. They certainly with an advantage. In the women have a shorter gap, but because there's only one women's final, the men have an even shorter gap between the semis and the final, and therefore the significance of getting into that first semi-final for the men is even more important.
It's so much more so important. And Belov and Halvorsen, yes, some 10-12 minutes less recovery time. It will be a small factor, but Halvorsen's desire to win this, I think, is pretty much up there, as high as the rest that he's alongside.
I'd watch out for this man. He looked very, very good in the semis. One little burst of energy on the second loop put him into a fighting position, and he looked very calm, very fresh, crossing that finishing line. You can never rule the Russians out in the sprints. Chernozov, as good as any. Incredibly strong. Well worth YouTubing some of their training sessions to find out what you have to do if you want to be a top skier. Halvorsen in a strong position in the Tour. Sundby, still the Tour favourite?
Yeah, I think so. I think so, because of his strength over the longer distance, and now he's in the final, so he's not losing much time. It's very close in the men's field.
Yevgeny Belov started today in 14th position in the Tour. There's no doubt he's going to improve his position, as will Pellegrino. Not really a Contour contender, Pellegrino, but he'd like to win here. And Peder Northug, is he going to be on the podium again without winning? Still looks quite likely. He's not opened up a gap in the Tour like Marit Bjørgen has done in the women's. So here we go, last race of the day, 1400 meters, 6 men. It will be fast, it will be competitive, and don't be surprised if we see a few thrills and spills on the way round. Who wants to lead into the first climb? It's a quick start from Northug on the near side, and he certainly changed his tactics from the first run. Pellegrino, I think, happy just to slip in behind Peder Northug. Good move from him. Halvorsen trying to close the gap down for Sweden, wearing the black bib. And Belov and Chernozov just taking it easy. Good steady start from those 2 Russians. And Sundby looks so smooth at the back. He's hardly raised his pulse at all. Dances his way up the first climb. I think we're going to see a similar approach from Sundby, but he'll just make sure he doesn't lose contact with the front of the field.
I think Northug is playing to his own strengths or his own weaknesses by getting to the front, then really slowing it down. He wants this as slow as possible so that he can turn on his incredible finish pace, and he's doing the right thing. Surely Belov or Halvorsen's way at the back, somebody's got to try and turn this pace up to disadvantage Northug.
Halvorsen has gone from 2nd back to 6th on that big climb, so maybe he's trying to save something for the final ascent.
Cheeky little look back there, a relaxed look back from Northug.
Still feeling okay with only a minute 15 of racing. Where does the pain really kick in, Mike?
I would say certainly when you get to the half distance, if you've gone hard on this first lap, the legs, the arms, everything is beginning to feel poisoned or heavy. And then it's all down to about remaining as efficient as possible.
Sundby still looks immaculate. He's back in 5th at the moment, but his balance is so good that he's just taking it smoothly. It's like he's got an elastic string attached to Northug and he's just being towed along. I think we're going to see something special from Sundby on this last lap. Pellegrino starting to make a move on the inside. Northug could easily close him down. He does so, and that's fair enough from Peder Northug. Pellegrino really, if he wants to overtake on the start of the corner, needs to go around the outside. So Northug still still leading. He's in control of this one. Pellegrino now switches from left to right. Good bit of footwork from Pellegrino, but that will have cost him a little bit of energy. Sumbi in exactly the same place as he was in the semis, on the outside, and he's gone from fourth to third to second, and he may well go ahead of Petter Northug now. He does so.
How did he do that? He went so much. He went some 4, 5, 6 meters further, but it's worked. And the pace, you said it last time, the pace he carries down this descent, what an athlete.
This corner, so important. You need to carry speed in and even more out. Sumbi through, he extends his lead by 7-8 meters, but he's not got this one in the bag quite yet. Petter Northug looks to be struggling, otherwise I think he would have tried to be a little bit closer to Sumbi, who skates his way into a commanding lead here. What is it, 300 meters from here, Mike?
It is, and Halverson, well, maybe with less recovery time, he's really suffering. Belov tried, but didn't quite have the power to pass Northug on the climb.
So into the home straight now, and it's still Sumbi leading. Now Northug turns it up this time. Maybe he feels he's got a chance, but Pellegrino's putting in a fantastic sprint on the right-hand side. Norway ahead of Italy, ahead of Norway. It could all change in the last 15 metres. Pellegrino's going to pinch it. Northug second, Sumbi I think third. Photo finish between the two Norwegians, but Pellegrino comes through with the best finish we've ever seen from him to claim the win here in Val Moster. Brilliant performance by Pellegrino. He won't feature in the overall tour, but great to see him attacking the sprint of Northug.
I love that, and he's just gone over to Northug, who's dead on the floor, and just said, hey, I can match you, I can beat you.
Zorzi number 2. Great to see. They have a fantastic reputation in sprinting, the Italians, and they've shown it again.
And Sundby, the turn of pace, I think, on the steep climb, Patrick, the massive lead that he had going down the descent, but that turn of pace on the climb, it really burned his final little bit of energy and had nothing left for the sprint.
Well, Northug's going to stay as the tour leader, having finished unofficially in second place. They've got 0.1 of a second between Northug and Sumbi. I think it's more like 0.001 of a second. It was that close. But Pellegrino, no doubt about it, the fastest in the home straight. Tactically brilliant. It would be nice to see the last 150 metres again, Mike. There's quite a big margin there. Oh, well, actually, is that going to change? Is Sumbi going to get second?
Well, that was so close. I
Very
thought
close.
It says Northug 0.18 and Sundby 0.19 behind.
There's your winner. There's your winner. And he prevents a Norwegian double. Norway getting 1, 2, 3 in the women's with Marit Bjørgen, the queen of the sprints, yet again. And we have calculated she's going to have something like a minute 14 lead over Heidi Weng in the tour standings, but we'll just wait for confirmation of that. Bonus points, of course, being awarded for today's, or bonus seconds awarded for today's race. But it will be between a minute 14 and a minute 20. If we're lucky, we might have time just to hang around until they get the official standings up. And, of course, then the tour heading for another race tomorrow. We go to Toblach for a 5 kilometre for the women's individual, classic style. In the men, it's a 10K classic. So a chance for the classic specialists to close the gap on the tour leaders. Now, here's the finish, Mike. Pellegrino's gone on the outside. The key there is he's carried better speed than anyone else into the home straight. I know he's gone the long way round, but that speed he took into the final straight, absolutely crucial. Sumbi can't do anything about it. He looks to the right, looks to the left, and then he's finished.
Well, it's the classic sprinters. The thing not to do is to look left, look right with 4 meters to go, and that's what Sumbi did, and I think that's what's cost him the race.
Yeah, Martin Fourcade knows all about that. Lost a world title in 2011 in Nova Mesto with a similar move.
I think Sumbi thought he had it. He knew he was so far ahead on exiting the corner, he didn't think he'd be challenged, and then he heard something to his left. He looked, and it cost him the race. I love this. Hey, I can match you. Northug's eyes still closed. He doesn't know what's happening.
Yeah, he intimidates a lot of people, but not Pellegrino. Great effort by Northug, though. Second place to him, and he keeps his hopes alive of taking the overall tour win. He finishes some way ahead of Halverson. In terms of qualifying time, Mike, Petter Northug 3:10, Halverson finished 3:12, so that's another 2-second advantage, plus the bonuses difference awarded for the fact that Northug was second and Halverson was 6th.
So maybe a shift, a turnaround, an advantage for Northug. Slim advantage, 12, 15 seconds.
But do you see Halverson as a potential winner?
I do, I really do. He's got everything. He's very good classic style, he's very good freestyle, and he's a good climber. He's very strong on the hills.
So we've got Northug certainly, Sumbi without a doubt. We've got Halverson in there as well. You can't rule out Dario Colonia, despite the fact that he didn't make the final today. Certainly 4 big names. Who else do we need to consider for the overall?
Well, I honestly think Belov, the way that he's looking this year, he was tired going into the final. I absolutely think he's got a strong chance. Alex Harvey's on good form, didn't make it through to the final. And Hellner possibly.
Well, that's all of the action from the cross-country skiing here in Val Moster. We head to Croatia, Zagreb, hosting the next round of the alpine skiing. Nick and John on hand for that event. 2 legs, of course, of the men's slalom. And so I hope you can stay tuned for that. And we will be back tomorrow with the next leg of the Tour de Ski. 5K for the women, 10K for the men. Join us then if you can. Goodbye for now.